Isn't music hard? Hopefully you answered yes. And music tests are even harder, especially the mat. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel of Music Maesters, and today I shall tell you about all the details there are to know in the mat. This video will be divided into 3 sections. Section 1, what is the mat used for and what even is the mat? Section 2, the format of the mat. And section 3, some basic tips you can use to maximise success. Anyway, timestamps are in the description, so feel free to skip forward or backwards. Section 1. What is even the mat and what is it used for? The mat stands for Musical Aptitude Test. This is a music test that tests your natural ability in music. Aptitude means natural ability. This is a test used for admissions within secondary schools beside the academia test. So, if you want to get into secondary schools, you can also take this test. And anyway, let's move on to section 2, which is the format of the mat. In the UK, the mat is in 2 tests. The first test in early September and the second test in late September. The first test, or Mat 1, will have 60 questions, each question covering the basis of music, which is rhythms, pitches, melodies, and textures, also known as chords. The questions will not be distributed evenly between sections, so there won't be 15 questions in each section. Okay, with the basics out of the way, let's move on to the section 1 of the Mat 1, which is pitches, which in my opinion is my favourite section. In pitches, there will be 20 questions. In each question, 2 notes will be played one after another. You have to identify whether the second note was higher, lower, or the same as the first note. That's it for pitches. Next is melodies, 10 questions in that section. A melody of 5 notes will be played, and then another melody of another 5 notes will be played. In the second melody, a note may be changed or altered. If a note was altered, you have to specify which note was altered. However, maybe no notes were altered, in which case you specified that. Now let's move on to textures, or sometimes called chords. In this section, there will be 20 questions. In every question, a chord of 2 notes or 3 notes or 4 notes will be played. And simply identify how many notes were played in that chord. Obviously, it has to be 2 notes or 3 notes, or finally, if it's neither of those, 4 notes. And now let's move on to the final section of Mat 1, which is rhythms. A bar in the time signature of 4/4 will be played. Remember, 4/4 has 4 beats in it. If a beat was changed, then afterwards specify what beat was changed. But if no beats were changed, then specify that. And anyway, that's it for mat number 1. In mat number 2, you'll get a 5-minute time slot that you are allocated to. You may perform anything musical within that time slot. This can include viola, piano, guitar, even singing is permitted. And if you do well enough, then congratulations, you have passed. Note, you may only get to this test if you get 45 or more in mat number 1. Let's move on to section number 3. The first tip is just to practice for mat 1. Many children just fail at mat 1. They don't even get through to mat 2. Mainly, this is because of the sections rhythms and textures. Children tend to fail on these sections even more than melodies and pitches. So, if that is your weak spot, practice on this section. Also, get a piece prepared. This is also why prepare in advance. Here is a sample question for pitches. The second note should have been higher. Now, here is a sample question for melodies. The third note was changed. If you were wondering, it was from a B flat to a B natural. And now, here is one sample question for textures. Hopefully you answered 4 notes. If you're wondering, they were a G, a B, a D, and a E. And now, let's move on to rhythms. A sample question. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you're wondering, I put the count of the 4/4 time signature at the start before the sample question. If you were listening to that, then you should have probably guessed beat number 3. Beat 3 changed from 1 crotchet to 2 quavers. And that's pretty much it for the mat. Be sure to like, share and subscribe in order to see more videos like this one. Thank you for watching.